If you watched the previous two videos, you now understand why we want to record conversations with healthcare providers and how you can best initiate that conversation. So now we want to dive into the benefits that you'll get from recording these conversations. And if you come up with more, please be sure to share them with the group because we really want to learn from one another. So, badass benefit number one, when you're recording these conversations, it ensures that everyone on the support team, especially those who were not present, they get to hear exactly what the physician said, right? It's not just a recap, it's not what you just happen to remember or were able to write down. It's the real conversation. And let's be honest, recaps, they're not always accurate. I mean, have you ever played Whisper Down the Lane as a kid? Whatever someone said at the start is not always what ends up at the end, right? Same thing when you're recapping these conversations. There's no way you can remember everything or write down everything. That is why recording the conversation is so critical. Badass benefit number two, may remember from an earlier lesson that I talked about communication styles. And I talked about the importance of listening and how, depending on your communication style, you may interpret things differently. Well, that comes into play here because I may hear one thing when the physician is speaking, and you may hear another. So, if our entire support team can listen to the recording, it's going to help us to come up with new, fresh questions because you have multiple people listening and using their communication styles. That is a huge benefit to the patient. The third badass benefit is if the patient is seeing a new physician or getting a second opinion, or maybe they have multiple physicians that take care of them, you can share these recordings with the other physicians, right? So you don't have to re-explain what the original doctor said. They can hear it directly from them. And again, it takes out that interpretation piece, and that is huge. Badass benefit number four, and I kind of touched on this already when we talked about initiating the conversation with the healthcare provider, but recording always allows both you and the patient to stay present. You're not distracted trying to remember things or taking notes. And let's be honest, these conversations can be overwhelming. They can be very emotional. I went through IVF years ago and I was the patient and I got very overwhelmed by all of the information that was thrown at me. And so I would get very distracted. And then next thing I knew, I missed half of what was said by the physician. So knowing that you can record the conversation kind of allows you to relax because you know that you have that as backup. And the badass benefit number five is that sometimes when you re-listen to the recording, you may pick up on something that is off with the patient. And I want to call this out because this happened in my family. It's not going to happen to every patient or every family, but it can happen. One time in the hospital, we were not present. I mean, we were always with my sister, but I swear the physician came, the 20 minutes that we left to go get a coffee. And my sister, thankfully, was aware enough to record herself talking to the physician. And what we found was that my sister sounded off. And the physician wouldn't know that, right? We know her intimately. He did not. So that is one huge benefit as an advocate. So make sure that you go back and you listen to those recordings. And when you do, especially if you're not present, does everything sound okay? In most cases it will be, but that might be an added benefit that you didn't expect. Now, remember, recording these conversations is so important because it's about helping you to be prepared, helping you to stay present, and it will help you to be empowered. It's not about recording someone because you're suspicious or you're trying to catch them to do something. All right, next I'm going to share an unexpected gift that you will get from these recordings. It doesn't necessarily have to do with the patient's care, but it was a hidden bonus that we discovered later. I'll see you there.